Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the SmackDown review for the 12th of March 2021. Yet again, I look at this show and wonder how it manages on network TV. There's no way 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or longer that the complete junk that they put on television would suffice to even be remotely considered worth putting out there. I am moderately excited about Edge being a part of next week's broadcast, which we'll get to in this review. But it's more in a curiosity way of can he still go? It's not that I have any faith that he's going to be a solution for the brand or for the show, but I'm moderately curious. Anyway, they recap Daniel Bryan beating Jey Uso in the cage match last week. Edge comes to the ring. He notes there's a contract signing tonight. He needs to address some topics. He notes that Roman Reigns spent weeks begging him to acknowledge him for WrestleMania 37's main event. Edge points out Reigns basically changed his mind, went down Daniel Bryan Boulevard, turns attention to Daniel Bryan. Edge is aggravated that Bryan went into business for himself. He's upset that Bryan feels he deserves the main event. Edge says he helped build the SmackDown brand, which is true. He claimed that Bryan was working maybe once a week. He worked 5 times a week, probably also true. Edge listed names he competed against, including Guerrero, Batista, Mr. Perfect, British Bulldog, Terry Funk, and others. Bryan's music hit. He made it to the ring. He recognized that Edge, in fact, had earned the championship shot. Bryan admitted that this could be his last WrestleMania, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get the main event. Bryan notes this isn't about Edge. He went into business for himself because he needs to give one last shot. Edge and Bryan basically are pretty decent in the segment. I hope that this leads to them going one-on-one maybe in time for SummerSlam. I mean, at this point, there's 3 main shows in WWE that, as a fan of 32 years, I pay attention to. I pay attention to the Rumble. I pay attention to WrestleMania. I pay attention to SummerSlam. I watch everything, but I care what happens on those 3. And I can't imagine throwing away Edge versus Daniel Bryan on anything other than those 3, but maybe, who knows. Anyway, Edge and Bryan also, kind of are interested in maybe doing battle at some point. Street Profits, Rey and Dominic Mysterio in an 8-man tag defeat Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, Chad Gable, and Otis. To me, this is just a match to fill time. I guess you got the subcontext of the Rey and Dominic story. Dolph and Robert Roode are probably one of the best tag teams. Actually, the best tag team in WWE by far. But they're kind of being wasted. Chad and Otis is a waste of Chad. It is what it is. Match is fine. Heels jumped faces to begin the match. They are in commercial when the match begins. Come back. Dawkins and Roode start the match off. Dawkins goes nuts. Hits some drop kicks. Ford comes in, does same to poor Roode, who's just being completely wasted here. Heels take over. Otis catches Dominic with a double axe handle. Dominic gets isolated for a while. He gets sent into the corner. How Dominic Mysterio was one of the hottest talents they had a year ago, and he's just in a throwaway match on SmackDown, I don't understand. Roode slows the pace down, works him over. Roode attempts a suplex, but Dominic counters into a tornado DDT. Dawkins tags in, goes nuts. Ziggler hits a strike. Dawkins fights back and hits a spine buster. Ford climbs the top rope. Frog splash. Roode shoves him off. Ford takes a bump to the floor, which was unnecessary, especially on a throwaway television program. Back from the break, the heels are in control. Ziggler isolates Ford on the side of the ring with a chinlock. Ford flies back. Ziggler locks in sleeper hold. Ford crawls the corner. And then Ford makes tag. Heels distract the referee, so tag doesn't count. Ray gets in. He gets the hot tag. Goes nuts. Hit a DDT on Gable. Otis breaks up pin attempt. Dominic hits crossbody. Otis catches him. Ray then hits a senton on Otis. Ray goes for 619, but Rude catches him, hits spinebuster. Faces fight back, regains some control. Finish comes. Ray hits a double 619 on Rude. Dominic hits a 2. Ford follows up with a frog splash for the win. Ugh. Oh. Like, I hate when they waste time on television. I despise when they waste time on television. Recapped Hurricane announcing Molly Holly as the first inductee to the 2021 Hall of Fame class, which is totally awesome. I'm so happy for Molly Holly. Good person, and it's cool that that's happening. Jey Uso approaches Heyman in front of Reigns' locker room. Heyman's happy to see Uso, but he wouldn't let him talk to Reigns. Heyman asks if he spoke to him yet. Uso claimed they spoke yesterday, but Heyman notes he's not happy with him for losing Daniel Bryan. Uso says he has things to do and he'll talk to Reigns later. Back from the break, Braxton interviews Rollins. They recap Cesaro giving Rollins the giant swing from a couple weeks ago. Rollins notes that he's trying to help Cesaro, but he gets made fun of for it. Rollins wants nothing to do with Cesaro. He claims him to be the biggest waste of potential. Braxton notes Cesaro takes on Murphy in a return match from last week. Rollins happy to hear that it's a return match. This is a complete waste of time. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take Reginald shopping. This is, again, a segment for the sake of segments. They recap Bianca Belair beating Shayna Baszler last week. This includes Carmella firing Reginald. Jax and Baszler take Reginald shopping, and he tries on a series of outfits. Jax is impressed. Baszler's bored out of her mind. Obviously, the Jax and Reginald thing is going to go to some sort of romance blow-off storyline at some point. Which maybe if she actually had a romantic partner in storyline, Nia Jax's segments would at least be watchable. Reginald enjoys this but doesn't know how to repay her, and basically played on the romantic tensions that she has anyway. Cesaro and Murphy, they have a good match while it lasted, but the finish is abysmal. While Rollins watches on from the stage, Cesaro has an early advantage, using some strikes, and then Murphy gets sent to the floor. Murphy catches him with a jumping knee. Murphy climbs the top rope, but Cesaro cuts him off. Follows up with a superplex from the apron. Cesaro then hits Murphy with a series of uppercuts. Cesaro catches him with a giant swing. Rollins attacks Cesaro for the disqualification. Post-match, Rollins attacks Cesaro and hits a couple of curve stomps. Rollins puts him his head in a steel chair and teases another curve stomp until officials jump in the ring. So, yay! Yet another babyface who has no friends. Rollins walks backstage and goes face-to-face with Nakamura. They had a stare down. Sami Zayn documentary crew approached Kevin Owens in the back. Zayn wants Owens to be in his documentary. Owens agrees, but he says he's about to host the KO show. And then back from commercial, Edge approaches Uso backstage. He knows their family for a long time. Edge remembers Uso as a kid. He's disappointed that he is Roman Reigns' lackey. Then the KO show, Owens, fans hadn't seen him for the last few weeks, but he's come back. Owens introduced Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. Owens points out they're facing off at WrestleMania, but have a tag match. They challenge for the tag team titles at Fastlane. By the way, there's too many women's tag team titles now. The NXT thing is just, hey, more belts because we want to make sure that everybody knows we're special. But really, nobody cares about most of the championships in this company. Anyway, Owens notes that they could be tag champions and face off for the title at Mania. Owens said that John Cena and Shawn Michaels were tag champs to face off at WrestleMania. Belair notes that that's not her fault, that Reginald has a crush on her. Banks and Belair argue back and forth. Banks and Belair give Reginald too much attention. Banks claims that she's the Michael Jordan of the women's division. Cool comparison. Belair can be the LeBron James. The heels interrupt and they make their way out to the commentators. This is fine. I mean, I don't like the forced partner storyline. It hasn't worked in, I don't know, maybe the last time it worked was 97 with Austin and Shawn Michaels. But it's trope and it doesn't inspire. But I think the to be fair, I think the average intelligence of wrestling fans that watch WWE has gone down over what it was 25 years ago. I mean, it'd have to watch this stuff week by week, right? Doesn't that make at least some semblance of sense? Anyway, Natalya and Tamina defeated Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. It's a fine tag match. They do the stupid distraction finish for what seems like the 87th time in the last 3 weeks. Anyway, Jax Baszler and Reginald join Cole and Graves on commentary. Most of the focus is on Reginald, and I mean, they ignore the match, but hey, story matters more than action in the ring, man, even though we're supposed to be athletes. Oy. Anyway, so faces have an early advantage. Heels isolate Banks in the corner. Belair gets the tag, goes nuts, hits a series of drop kicks on Natalya, and then spinebuster. Reginald distracts referee. Reginald poses at the commentary table. Banks gets in his face, chases him away. Natalya then knocks Banks out of the ring. Belair's distracted. Tamina rolls her up for the win. So basically, you've created a cool character in Bianca Belair. You're getting her ready for WrestleMania. But along the way, because we have to have multiple network specials, Peacock specials now, or in a couple of weeks anyway, we have to have them. So instead we do this completely nonsensical that nobody cares about women's tag match that's coming up while taking the heat off the fact that Bianca Belair, who could be one of the best talents you've had in the last 5 years, maybe longer, is going to lose momentum going into Mania for the championship. Anyway, so Belair and Banks argue post-match. Back from the break, they're continuing to argue. Banks refuses to accept any blame for the loss. Big E makes his way to the ring with the Intercontinental Championship. He comes in with a crutch, wears a neck brace. He tears off the bandage, throws away the crutch, demands that Apollo Crews comes out to the ring. I honestly, week to week, I forgot where their angle was even going. I didn't know why Big E was out there, being injured. I had completely forgotten last week's storyline, which should not be something, especially when I'm reviewing these shows on a regular basis. Anyway, so Big E's angry. Apollo Crews attacks him with the steps a few weeks ago. He demands that Crews come to the ring. Corbin interrupts and walks on the stage. Corbin's about to accept the challenge, but started talking about his suit. Sami Zayn interrupts and accepts the challenge for the Intercontinental Champion, and then Corbin and Zayn argue. I guess they're trying to do the team that doesn't get along thing. Anyway, Big E's heard enough, and he promised to give a title shot to the first person to enter the ring, which ends up being Sami Zayn. Big E defeats Sami Zayn. So basically, anybody who applies can be champion now in the Intercontinental ranks. This is just horrible. The match itself is fine. Zayn and Big E have a clash of styles because of size issues. Big E has the advantage early, nails Zayn with some strikes, including a back elbow. Tosses Zayn around like he's a sack of, well, potatoes. And then hits a boot to the face, or Zayn hits the boot to the face, takes over. Zayn hits an elbow from the second rope, gets a near fall. Big E catches him with a belly to belly release suplex. Zayn gains control, and back from the break, Zayn and Big E are fighting on the top rope. Zayn hits a sunset bomb for a close near fall, and then slaps Big E in the face, which fires him up, but not enough to do any real damage, except it leads to a few clotheslines in the big ending for the win. Post-match, Apollo Crews jumps Big E from behind, hits the angle slam. Crews hits a second offensive maneuver and tosses the steps on him. And Big E gets beat up even further. Caleb Braxton interviews Nia Jax and Reginald backstage. Reginald's convinced Jax to challenge Sasha Banks for the championship next week. If this leads to Nia and Belair at WrestleMania, I think I'm going to, pull my hair out of my head. They do the stupid contract signing for the 10,273 time in the last 20 years. So anyway, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Paul Heyman make their way to the ring, back from a break. So they come to the ring and then go to the break. Why do they think people sit through this stuff? Do they not understand that most people are smart enough to skip commercials, watch on DVR, and if they're going to insult us by sending us to break, they're not even going to finish watching the program? Anyway, Pierce notes that he's read over the contract. Reigns then makes Pierce get him a chair, and Reigns admits a few weeks ago he agreed to the match with Bryan. Reigns changes his mind, won't sign the contract. Bryan's excited, so he signs with enthusiasm. Bryan makes fun of Reigns and taunts him until he signs the contract. Uso throws the table out of the ring in Bryan's face. Uso demands to be the enforcer referee at Fastlane. This is just horrible. Edge comes out. His music hits. He challenges Uso to a match next week. And then he agreed with Uso and challenged him to the match. The winner will be the referee at Fastlane. And this is his first match on SmackDown in 11 years. Pierce agrees to all of this. Brawl breaks out, and Edge pushes Bryan out of the way. Bryan hits Edge with a running knee, and SmackDown ends. Why this is considered a network-worthy television program, I don't understand. I feel like I wasted time, and I did less than a 20-minute review. Wow, just wow. Wrestling has fallen so far. Anyway, we'll be back with more Smoky Mountain stuff and an actual Wrestling Challenge episode as well right after this.